Black and white European films is my love language, and we have one of them.
We should make a candy out of that. It's going to be unappealing. No one's going to want it, but you can have it.
Yeah, so we got one of them. Let's talk about it.
By the end of this video, one of us is going to be poked with a needle. Find out who at the end. I'm Kyle Goethe from GoatFilmReviews.com.
I'm Nick from the St. Paul Filmcast. Thanks for finding us. Thanks for watching. Loyal fans, thank you for continuing to support the show. You do have a Patreon. Check that out for some great deals and great content. We're both members of the Minnesota Film Critics Association. Check out that webpage for critics' reviews as well as ours. And today we're talking about a film that I think will be the official selection to submit the Oscars from Denmark. It is The Girl with the Needle.
Oh, Denmark makes the pleasing films.
Yeah, what's going on?
When factory worker Carolyn finds herself pregnant and broke, she comes across Dagmar, who runs a secret adoption operation in her candy store. Carolyn finds purpose in assisting Dagmar in the process, all the while being unaware of the complete process.
If you've seen Eraserhead or if you've seen Elephant Man, you can see definitely the heavy influence of those movies.
Pretty much like they came full circle, though, because Eraserhead was probably taken from a lot of these days kind of films from back in the time, too.
Yeah, very much a heavy influence. I'm not just saying about the black and white, but the whole concept of the story gets bleaker, which is very hard to do and be successful and people appreciate it. And I really, it was in my top 10. I'm really sold on the movie. Very risky to talk about a movie about a serial killer, but that is the subplot of the movie.
Well, it's the subplot that becomes plot as the film goes on, but rarely is the film really associated with it until the end. You know what I mean? Like, it's always there, but we don't know it's there. And I think that's what's kind of appealing about it. I don't know enough about Danish history to know what the hell I'm talking about, but
right. And it's not so much the killing, the serial killer, and her doing her thing, but it's also about atonement, forgiveness of yourself, forgiveness of other people, of their actions. And I think that was the prevalent thing, the motivation behind the movie. And I say that as capturing the ending that makes it, kind of sells it for me as well. Of she gives this baby to the serial killer, and we don't know what happened. It's off camera, but we kind of have the inkling of what happened. And the ending kind of seals it for me, that you have to kind of figure for yourself. This is a woman that's flawed. She's not really a heroine in this movie.
Well, I mean, that's the beautiful thing about some protagonists, is that they don't have to be likable as long as they're interesting. And I think Carolyn's a really interesting character with a really nice performance. It's actually Vic Carmensona, who, if you watch our show, she was in the film Azrael that we covered last season.
She's fantastic in this.
And I think she's really good in this movie because she isn't exactly likable, but at the same time, we get it. We see the world around her, and we don't think we could do it any differently. You know what I mean? Like, she's just trying to get by.
Right. And she has this very David Lynch thing of wooing her boss, but their affair is not even, it's kind of gross. It's in the back alley.
Yeah.
It's not even
and it doesn't even really get her where she wants to be. It's the most cut off plot thread in a series of like moments where she's just trying to get by. And this is such a great idea if you're stuck in this situation, I guess. Yeah. And it doesn't go well for her. And so she finds the next best thing.
And of course, even when things are worse, even for her husband, she kicks him out. But then you have this redemption of, look what happened. This is his lowest common denominator. Now he's in a freak show, and that kind of interaction. Right? You get her. You won't you understand what she's doing. You won't like it.
Yeah.
But also, that's the whole point of the movie is, even as a society, they're upset that how does this woman flip under the radar of everybody.
Well, I think that's the strength in Magnus van Horden's film and the screenplay as well, is in the fact that I think there's this idea, especially prevalent today with social media, where people talk about how, like, if you make a movie about these things, you're supporting these things. And that's not the case. We're making a movie that is about living in this situation.
Yeah.
And I think what she does to get by, I don't blame her for it, because I don't think I could do any better. You know, and I think that's why it's horrifying that she can't forgive certain aspects of herself, because she's in the situation none of us could be in. And so when she walks down that alleyway and she sees what she sees, it is a time in the movie where it flips from being what I think is a pretty good movie into a great movie, because then all the puzzle pieces start to come together.
I'm glad we agreed about that.
Yeah, to click.
Yeah, establishing the status quo. I could take it or leave, but as soon as that inkling of you get this whole class structure, you realize that he's not the most authentic person in the world to be doing this job. It's over his head be doing this position. And she really, everybody she's handling doesn't really equip to help her in any way.
Yeah.
Evil presented this way is perfect. Evil is not going to, with a smarty mustache, this evil is going to be charming and delightful with a smiling face and answer all your prayers. And this is a great staple for it for me.
Well, we often get villains, and especially, again, right now, we have these over-the-top kind of villains.
Very
because we
exaggerated.
live in a time period where superhero movies are very popular, Star Wars films are very popular, all these big-budget tentpoles, the villains are always these kinds of, I don't want to say they're not as mustache-twirling as the mustache-twirling did, but they always have, like, a reason behind what they're doing.
Yeah.
And sometimes in this movie, for example, we don't get all the answers, and I think that's because the people in the situation didn't really get all the answers either. Sometimes people are just bad.
I'm hoping this gets the selection for Best International Film. It was in my top 10. It was also in the top 5 for the National Board of Review for Best International Film in the top 5 as well.
So by the time our episode drops, we should know if it got in, but I do believe it is shortlisted currently within like the 10 or 15 possibilities.
Yeah.
I think it's a strong film. I think the problem with it is that can you convince enough people to watch?
Right.
To watch something bleak, that tends to be a difficult thing.
Just go very
in these types of
Kafka. You
movies.
start below the X line and you go worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think what's crazy about it is that the bleaker the movie gets, I think the more I was drawn into it. And it's not that I was like, that there's a level of excitement and concern about how is she going to get through
Navigate,
this
yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
That is consistently at play throughout the entire time.
Great
But it
characters
raises.
make a movie go farther. She's a great character.
Yeah, and the interplay between the two of them, again, watching her try to survive, watching her feed Dagmar's child in order to just have a purpose.
Yeah.
That's, again, something of the time that we've seen in some films and some books before, is just the how can I use what I have to get me through the situation.
And it feels like the movie did that too. They filmed what they
Yeah.
they had too. We just use this as what they had.
Sometimes you just got to turn the camera the other direction and
Yeah.
get what you get.
I would say it's not so much a noir. This is very much a Kafka-esque kind of a film. But I won't say even the ending is happy. People say there's a jubilation to this ending. There's a sense of it. I don't see that. I think this is going to be kind of, we're going back to the status quo and just acquired another person.
I think there's an element of relief to the closure of the story.
Yeah.
I think that's what matters, is that the story feels relief at the end for itself, but we're still not any different than we were at the beginning of the film.
Yeah, and that's hard to do, and it makes it even more compelling that I enjoyed the journey we had, and I don't think we're even having a change here.
Yeah. And I think that's what's pretty strong about the film is you've got Magnus von Horn, who directed this film from a screenplay he co-wrote, but he also brought in cinematographer Mikhail Dymek.
Yeah.
And then he has the same editor, too, from the film EO, which if you're looking for a bleak movie about a
You
donkey...
love that. You love
I
that.
did not love that movie at all. But
Kidding.
if you're looking to have yourself punished in a donkey film for 75 minutes, that's one as well. But the funny thing about that is the movie is equally bleak in full color and
Yeah,
fully realized.
that donkey,
so
yeah.
it's proof that you can do bleak in any number of ways.
So it's a big challenge for us to, and I would say especially for writer, if you go through that, not that valley journey, but that go things from worse to pretty much did you learn your lesson? But I think the prevalent thing is, and I'll establish, is atonement for yourself.
Yeah.
For all your sins you've done.
There's another film that came out last year. We covered it on our show that I think there's a lot of comparisons to, and I'm more positive on this film. The one I'm thinking about is Devil's Bath, which I was very mixed on. Devil's Bath is very much
Right.
a time of its time, a bleak film,
And
a
I
film
enjoyed it.
about
Yeah,
females women going through like a torturous experience like that. There's a lot of similarities in how they're shot and how they're put together,
Yeah.
and yet The Girl with the Needle, I think, is an overall stronger package. I would
Exactly.
recommend The Girl with the Needle. I think this one is a beginning, middle, and end story that feels like our character is changed, even if they arrive at the same place.
Yeah.
Whereas Devil's Bath, I feel like there's not a whole lot of change in any of the characters. It's just kind of almost feels like Passion of the Christ, where it's just like we're going to put you through a lot of pain, and no one's going to learn any lessons, no one's going to evolve, no one's
And
going
then
to
you go home and eat, and like that's over.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Where the ending is right for this movie.
I think the ending for this film again feels like there's relief, even when there's not much
Exactly.
to be relieved about.
So, what do you think of our assessment with The Girl with the Needle? Right now, as the video gets released, I think it's available in theaters.
Yeah, it's going to
some.
make that slow rollout. So I think
Yeah.
if you get the chance to check it out and you're looking for a crowd pleaser,
Yes,
then
yes.
this might not be it. But
No.
if you're looking for not a crowd pleaser, then this might be it.
If you, like I said, if you like this movie, then you know what I'm talking about. Bleak
Yep.
to bleaker, black and white European films. Love them.
Yep.
So, that's our assessment of Girl with the Needle. Thanks for watching.